It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledge your knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. News, brews, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
You heard the man, ladies and gentlemen. It's Topic Thunder, the internet saloon, as we call it. So belly on up to the bar and let me introduce you to the world's most dangerous chat zone. That's called the Thunderdome. Everybody, welcome to it's Topic Thunder, as you heard our friend Biz announce. And that's Ben. I'm Brooks. And Ben, I've got a funny story to tell you about this.
Okay.
Right off the bat. So I had some friends over. You know them as Rick and Grandmaster B. They came over. They came over Saturday, and we enjoyed the finer things that are available in the city of Chicago. Right? We had
we do with Rick and Grandmaster B.
We went to RPM Steak, and that is a premium steakhouse here in the city of Chicago. So much so that I was surprised I got 7:45 p.m. dinner reservations day of. But it happened. It was fantastic. We were all in our meat sweat glory. And but we're walking around showing them the neighborhood, right? And as I want to do, my friend Biz, they call me Biz. That's his stage moniker. So he produces not only music but a clothing line, the Shiesty clothing line. Get Shiesty, CHISTEE.com. Go check it out. I wear the stuff all the time, including on Saturday. It was a little chilly in the city, so I wore the best hoodie I've ever worn in my life. And now I'm not blowing smoke like just because he's my pal. It's super comfortable. It's a awesome sweatshirt. So I'm repping, the city of Chicago in front of my friends and wearing about the streets, right? We're coming about, I believe, Fairbanks. We're about to kind of make a little turn on Wacker to go down to the Riverwalk and check that out, right? And all I hear from a white car turning a corner is, "Hey, yo, Shiesty!" And I turn and I look, and who do I see? Holy shit. It's my friend Biz, who saw me walking in the street of Chicago with his gear on and took the time. I don't think he knew it was me because I still haven't told Biz. I wanted to save the whole thing for the show here because I thought I should text him right now. Like, that's hilarious because I don't think he knew it was me.
Oh, that's weird that he doesn't know that it was you. That's great. Or maybe he doesn't know it's you. Yeah.
So if he's listening, or we might repeat once I see him log in. But that was the fun and interesting time we had.
Awesome.
Yeah. So as we're wont to do, ladies and gentlemen, a special program. Ben, how can I? Oh my God.
We are here on a special Wednesday, right? This is a special occasion. Had a little bit of a personal emergency Monday evening and had to cancel last minute. So I apologize to all those people that were anxiously awaiting us at 7 p.m. on Monday night. But here we are on Wednesday. But this is something we're going to do for the next couple of Wednesdays, right?
Right. And I think because I did kind of spill the beans a little bit via the online, we just want to tell everybody that Ben's dog Beans had a medical emergency, has recovered thanks to some the story in the pre-show was an amazing tale of very competent, caring, and dedicated canine and animal healthcare people. And they literally saved Beans' life. So we're just happy to report that here live on, I guess, just to let everybody know that everything kind of worked out the best way possible. But next Wednesday, we reached out to a friend of the show, I guess, a friend of a friend of a friend of the show, and practicing psychologist. And we've been looking for another guest, right? We've had two guests on this show, right?
Out of the last one.
One went fantastic, and I'm talking about Big Luke. The other one, the forgotten show, the lost tape. kind of shy, a little gun shy about that. So we're going to step back into the guest waters, and we're going to again welcome a practicing psychologist. Her name is Chrissy. She is going to join us for next week's show. That will be Wednesday, July 6th. So take the 4th off and enjoy some encased meats, grilled and cold beverages. Do all that and wave the flag for all the freedoms that, I don't know, we may or may not have by the 4th. It's only 3 days away, and the way things are
going, which we will get into. Holy shit, who knows where we'll be.
Holy shit is right. But before we get into all that holy shit, Ben, I feel like I need a drink. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the beer of this summer. The beer of 2022, ladies and gentlemen, is a Kolsch. I'm on a mad hunt for a Kolsch beer. So if you happen to know a Kolsch, send them my way. I don't bite. But this one is brought to you by the lovely and talented Gigi, who was down in St. Louis over the weekend. And St. Louis's craft beer du jour is Schlafly's. Their breweries actually produce several fine beers that actually have been shown on the show before. So she brought me the Kolsch, ladies and gentlemen, the Kolsch. So there it is. We're gonna get, well, okay. Truth be told, I've already had one, but just to let you know, it's a good Kolsch. And if I had to go right to the Brooks Bolts without even tasting it live on the air, you might not believe me because it might be fake news.
Right. And we know how horrible that could be.
And I would never do fake news when it came to beer. That is my honest pledge to everybody here. Everything else is fair game. But here, let's try this. See, here's what I like about the Kolsch, right? It is light, like a light beer, but it also has let's call it a little effervescence, a little more fizziness than a typical light beer in a fine way. Not like the big bubbles you see in like a Miller Lite or a PBR or something like that, but it's on the verge of being almost like a champagne-esque type beer. Nice, refreshing, very clean finish, and just a delightful beer to go ahead and celebrate the impending demise of a once great republic democracy, which we're going to get to in the most creative name segment ever. Folks, we call it the headlines. Oh boy. There's a lot to talk about, ain't there, folks? Right?
Man, where do we even start?
I think we're at this point kind of over the initial shock. Is that going easy? Over the Supreme Court's decision to basically overturn Roe versus Wade in a 6-3 decision. Interesting to note, Ben, as we reported on these airwaves, when the leak of this came out, the decision was 5-4.
Really? I don't remember that.
Right.
That's a good nugget of this I do not remember. So someone switched after the leak.
I also want to throw a little kudos my way for a very plausible theory now that the leak had nothing to do with getting it out to press. And we floated the idea that it was an actual conservative person or in that circle that leaked it.
That backed that up too.
That leaked it to force a particular justice in one direction by exposing the conversation. I would put a
little bit more credence to that. Now, I had some people that I put that theory to that dismissed that theory as implausible or highly unlikely. But given that bit of information, that someone felt pressured enough to change their vote between the time that a first opinion was written and leaked and the final opinion was released.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess I just forgot that Gigi had an appearance on the show, but like,
oh yeah, you did. We did.
I just saw it, like, and I'm in hot water now. But it was not necessarily like she's not a guest. She's a part of the show, and she was actually reporting on something. I believe there were 2 reports that Gigi's been on, so she's more of part of the show, more
she's
like
more
a
like
guest.
a reporter, if you will, for the show. Yes.
Thank you, Ryan Hansen. I almost forgot too. I was like, oh shit. But thankfully, there wasn't a whole lot that of news that went on. Maybe just a little bit, but we can get to that a little bit later too. Oh, and
Hey, Chris has a great question. Who do you think changed their vote?
Roberts, Chief Justice. By all accounts, he was the one that was on the fence, and has shown on record that he is willing to be a dissenting vote against the the forces of evil, the 4 horsemen of the Justopolics.
So that you think the pressure was leaked to put pressure on him to make sure that it was a 6-3, not a 5-4.
Right, because if the Chief Justice wrote the dissenting opinion on it, it in the eyes of history and legal scholars, it has more weight. Right. If he's the one that's saying, yeah, I'm a conservative, but I can't go. No, I think honestly that was the pressure put on.
Yeah. And everyone is up Clarence Thomas's ass. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Roberts is kind of flying under the radar here a little bit, but it didn't matter because even if it was 5-4, it still gets overturned. So it doesn't matter. Ultimately, that doesn't matter other than what you're talking about. The leak may have been from the conservatives in order to put pressure on conservatives. I think it does lend more credence to that, if nothing else.
I mean, it wasn't Sotomayor that got pressured and turned. You know what I mean? Like there are very few. Like there are very few options.
Barrett would be the only other one I could think, but she's wacky conservative.
Oh, we're gonna talk about Amy Coney Barrett in a little bit. This is going somewhere. I trust me, because like we were maybe not so eloquently trying to address the topic of this horrible decision and this reversal of 50 years of settled law in this country. 50 years of settled law that every single one of these justices that voted against it and turned it down lied under oath in front of Congress that they agreed it was settled law. Right? Are we? We're not over the rage of the moment and the anger of this horrible decision that absolutely affects every single female and every male that gives a damn in this country. And it obviously sets us back not just 50 years, but sets it roughly, let's give it a good 100. Let's give it a good century mark, because the attack on voting rights, make no mistake, part of the agenda. The attack on reproductive rights, make no mistake, part of the agenda. And again, let's just reference it's actually on my phone, and I forgot to transfer it to the old PC here. But part of the opinion that Clarence Thomas wrote references a couple of other judicial cases. This is what he wrote. For that reason, in future cases, we should reconsider all of this court's substantive due process precedents, including Griswold, Lawrence, and Ogerfeld. And if you're not forgetting, those are names of court cases that granted the right to gay people to have physical relationships without it being called sodomy and arrested and killed for it. They allowed homosexual people to enter into legal marriages. And man, I'm forgetting the other one right now.
I'm not sure either, but dude, the Lawrence
contraception. Sorry, the right to female contraception.
Yes, yes. The Lawrence versus Texas one, which is the sodomy law, if you will. That was in 1998. Can you believe that? Think about that.
I'm having a hard time believing any of this at this point.
Like this, dude, here's the problem. Here's where I think this opens up. And this is where it gets real scary for me, man. Is that this opens up for everything is by the states. The states get to choose. Right? And on its surface, turning it back over to the states sounds like an okay idea. All right. Every state chooses for themselves. You can choose to move out of your state if you don't like your state's rules and laws. Freedom, baby. Yeah. Except state legislatures are very, very heavily manipulated and gerrymandered.
That's part of the plan.
And it's all part of the plan, right? To then, because ultimately what happens is when you turn it over to the states, that means you're turning it over to state legislatures, not the people of the state. The people of the state never vote on the issues. We only vote for our representatives to be our voice on these issues, right? And so when you turn it over to the states have already been taken over. Look at Texas alone, guys. Craziness is being passed in Texas regularly. I live here. It's insane. This opens up the floodgates for all the Supreme Court decisions, all the way up to and including, and I know this is an extreme case, but what's to stop? Where does it stop? Does it stop at slavery? That states can vote to be okay. If Alabama decided, their state legislature decides that they want to allow slavery to be okay in their state, are we going to be okay with that because the Supreme Court says the states make the decisions for themselves? What's the point of the Supreme Court then?
Well, I mean, they've clearly lost that.
Federal laws.
As Aunt Chris points out, there's one specific case that a lot of white nationalists would probably have a lot of interest in overturning, and that's Loving versus Virginia, that made interracial marriage legal. Now, why was that one left out of Clarence Thomas's? Because he's married to Jenny Thomas, who's a Caucasian female. Clarification. Closely tied to the January 6th fun, happy time tour at the nation's capital that occurred, which we might be getting to a little bit later. But I think, obviously, this is the more pressing topic, and we need to kind of have a show-wide kind of blowing off of steam a little bit about this, right?
Yeah, it's just, but do you see where I'm at on this? Like, this is the start. This is the opening of the floodgates, right? And it's all over what is ultimately a moral, religious-based question, right? And that leads you to interracial marriage, gay marriage, sodomy, things of that nature, where those are immoral in the eyes of these ultra religious people that believe that that's what the laws that everyone and the rules that everyone should be living under. It's a Christian theocracy. I said it on my social media. Every day we move closer. And that was one day. And then the next day, doggone it, if we didn't move another step closer, and I'm sure we're going to get to it, another step closer to a Christian theocracy. It is obvious what is happening. It is obvious. These evangelical Christians are, they have invaded school boards. They've invaded your local governments already, your state governments already. They had already invaded the Senate and Congress. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is she's a sitting fucking senator.
No, the same Marjorie Taylor Greene that asked for a pardon 3 days after being in office.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Same person.
Right.
That same person.
Okay.
And Brooks, I'll be honest with you, man. Like, I'm guilty of this because I'm guilty of being part of this because I didn't vote in 2016. I'm one of the guilty parties, right? And I can call out myself and everyone like me who went, Hillary's not the greatest option. There's no way that Trump is actually going to win. So I'm not going to have her. I'm not going to live with. I'm not going to have to live with myself saying I voted for Hillary down the road because she's going to win anyway. Whatever. Nah, man. Like that 2016 election is a what's the seminal event. It is a tipping point. It is not a tipping point, but a fracture off that when had things gone a different way that night, there's a whole number of things. 3 justices out of the 9, it's 3 out of the 6 that voted on the 6th side of this decision that we're talking about now were appointed by the man that won that election that night. Won, right? Wasn't even didn't even win the popular vote. And which infuriates me even more because when you understand what the Electoral College ultimately is and was, which was a compromise with slave owning states to make sure that they felt equally represented, despite the fact that they were a smaller population of people. And here we are in 2022, having women everywhere affected by an election where the guy with the most votes or the person with the most votes didn't win. And I don't understand how anyone at this point can argue. I can't, and I've not heard a good argument for keeping the Electoral College. Oh, well, then what happens with all the rural country or all rural places around the country? I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, you get better health care and your life probably improves.
More than likely. And majority rules.
Majority rules.
Majority rules, right? Right. I mean, right. But apparently not. Because we got at least 5 fucking clerics on the Christian clerics on the Supreme Court, right? Because it's at this point, it's no different than Iran, no different than the Taliban.
Right. This is an extreme branch of Christianity that has infiltrated the highest court in this country. This is a court again where you are not elected into this position. You are nominated into this position, and it is a lifelong appointment that until you die or retire, you are a sitting member of the Supreme Court, named as such because there is no higher court in our government, in our societal structure.
Yes. But they can be impeached.
Also. They can't. Okay, you're right.
They can be impeached. So there is a way to get them out. And Clarence Thomas is dancing on that, right? If you know, if you're calling it down the middle, Clarence Thomas is dancing on impeachment with his dalliances with the insurrection. We've strayed a little bit from where I wanted to go. I think it's but no, the conversation's organic. We're kind of hitting all the points, right? I started thinking more about like who gets abortions, like these people. It's not just a topic, right? These are people. These are human beings. These are and you can and slice it however you want. Rape, incest, unviable pregnancy, a threat to the female's life. Even as a form of contraception, it should be that person's right to choose. So the New York Times actually had a fantastic article. And Ben, I don't think you have the subscription.
Yeah, I can't because I don't have the subscription.
So I just want to read some of the information off this New York Times article that was published on actually December 14th of 2021. The typical patient that receives an abortion is already a mother, is in her late 20s, has attended some college, has low income, is unmarried, is in the first 6 weeks of her pregnancy, is having her first abortion, and lives in a blue state. I would have not guessed the blue state thing, to be honest with you. Now, I know we can't show the chart, but according to statistics, when Roe went into effect in 1973, the abortion rate spiked and has steadily climbed down to below the average abortions per 1,000 women from 16.3 when Roe was first made law of the land to what is currently 14.4. That's 30 abortions per 1,000 women. So we are below the number of abortions being performed that before Roe went into law. 60% of women who receive an abortion already have one or more children. 6 in 10, according to 2019 data.
Wait, say that one more time. 6 in 10 women have one more child after
one or more children already
by the time when they get an abortion.
Correct. This is what really got me too, because you hear when people like on the pro-life side, gosh, that makes no sense, but on the pro-life side say, oh, all these late-term abortions. Only 4% of all abortions are performed after 16 weeks of gestation. 43% of all abortions are performed within the first 6 weeks of gestation. That is finding out and for whatever reason terminating the pregnancy. It's not this, it's a viable living thing, because in 6 weeks, it's still just a little thick sack of cells just still developing. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but at this point, because it would have to, it probably has some form of central nervous system. That's it.
Yeah.
Might have some little nubs as arms and legs. And it's got a head and maybe some black things that are going to become eyes, but it's going to look more something like sci-fi than it is a human being. 6 weeks, 7 to 9 weeks, 36%. So right there, legit right there, we're almost talking 80% of abortions happen within the first 9 weeks.
Right.
Not all these late-term abortions. And I would venture a guess that late-term abortions, a majority of those are medical reasons.
Medically, of course, could be. Of course it is, because almost no woman is going to take a pregnancy to almost full term and then go, you know what, I'm out.
Yeah, I've had enough.
I'm out. You know, I've put my body through 7 months, 8 months, 8.5 months of hell, but I'm just gonna bow out now. Like it's so crazy. The talk around this subject is insane that we are still even having these discussions. If you don't want an abortion, don't get one. If you don't want your children to have abortions, teach them to not get the abortions. That is all well and good. You are more than welcome to believe and feel how you want, but you don't get to enforce that on another person. And the logic is so flawed on so many levels and can be pointed out on so many different levels of how it's absurd. I mean, when you talk about those same conservatives, well, if we just make abortions illegal, people will stop getting abortions. Same person. Well, if we make guns illegal, the criminals will still get the guns. People will still get guns. It's just the criminals will get them now. Right? It's the same fucking logic, but they see it two different ways on two different things because of how they personally feel about something. It's just, I don't understand.
So let's talk about it. Let's talk, because I'm gonna cut some different directions here. We'll follow. I had a couple pieces about the dark money that's legit behind some of these Supreme Court people. We're gonna save that because you stumbled onto something that I was next. That first Twitter link that I sent you from Phillips O'Brien kind of shows you 2 slides, 2 graphics, and generally where abortions will be banned. So the pro-life states versus the pro-choice states are right there. And in the very next slide and graph is where the death penalty is legal in the United States of America. So all of those states that are trying to ban abortion under the premise of being pro-life, depends on how old or born apparently you are.
Well, yeah, the same people are also fighting against free school lunches. They fight against funding places like Planned Parenthood, who can help people after the birth, not just people that want to get abortions. Planned Parenthood is there to help people plan parenthood. I mean, it's in the fucking name, and somehow it gets misconstrued what that organization is all about. It's there to help people that don't know how to move forward as a parent, move forward if they want, however they want to move forward as a parent. And we don't, these conservatives, they don't, it's clear and obvious, they don't care about the child after it's born. There is no illusions, because they on so many occasions tell you with their actions and their words that they don't care about these kids. They don't care about transgender children. They don't care about gay and lesbian children. They don't care about those kids. They want those kids eradicated, literally. They want them closeted and put away, not acknowledged. That's what they want. And at the same time, they want to tell you they want to force you as a woman to carry out a pregnancy. Force. Crazy.
And as Gigi points out, she used Planned Parenthood for female health reasons and checkups. So a large majority of what Planned Parenthood does are breast exams, actually. They do a ton of them, a lot, especially for low-income people, poor college students, for instance. But obviously, the law is clearly going to affect a lot of people of color. But also, don't discount the idea that we got a bunch of people that tend to trend on the same level as these clerics that believe in this white replacement theory. So maybe some of that thinking is, well, we need more white babies and we don't care how they happen, but you can't that's a soldier in the war for Xenu. I don't know, whatever they believe in at this point. But I wouldn't discount that as some motivation behind this too. But for sure, the idea that somebody could tell you what to do with your body would be, Ben, there is no comparison for us other than vasectomies.
Sure.
Like forced vasectomies. There is no comparison, right?
Here's what I don't want it to be compared to, and what you are seeing and hearing on social media being compared to from your friends on the extreme right and the anti-vax crowd are comparing it to vaccine mandates.
Oh, Ben, I've heard it compared to gun rights. That if you're for like gun laws, then you should be for abortion laws, because it's the same thing, right? And the false equivalency just stuns me, because some of these people are like, oh, but libertarian rights. But here, rights are being taken away.
Right.
But they're comparing.
Body autonomy is being taken away.
They're literally comparing a medical procedure to owning not just a weapon, because what the gun nuts love to do is, when you're specifically talking about, I don't know, an AR-15, they make the, again, false equivalency that you're talking about all guns, right? That's their go-to. So they're drawing a comparison that, if you're for pro-choice, then you should be for less government and no gun laws, right? No. How could you compare a medical procedure to a weapon of war and mass murder that leaves pumpkin pie size bullet exit wounds in the backs of children?
Yeah, that one is particularly absurd.
It is absolutely astonishing.
But even at that, I want to make sure that people don't. But the vaccine thing is also a medical procedure, right? So it's a little bit more apples to apples, though it's not apples to apples, because ultimately one is an airborne illness that can be spread from person to person and could cause death in some people, and one is a pregnancy that affects no one other than the mother. So that's where the false equivalency. They're both medical procedure. They're both in the medical realm, but they're not similar, and they're not. And it isn't about body autonomy, because ultimately nobody was forced to get a vaccine. You
Right.
still had the choice to not get the vaccine. Now your choice not to get that vaccine has consequences, but you still had the choice to decide whether or not you wanted to get that vaccine. And there are plenty of people that chose not to get the vaccines.
Yeah, I know, unfortunately, too many. So I guess where do we go from here, right? And I want to show you some of the scary stuff that goes on when you look beyond this moment. And actually, I have to turn my critical eye to the motherland, to Poland, because for all of the credit that I give Poland in a lot of ways, and I love, I got to call them out on this one. And this one is from Euronews.com, but there have been several stories about this. Polish women risk being spied on, controlled, and possibly punished over pregnancy register. Polish women are at risk of being spied on, controlled, possibly punished, and it is claimed after the government created what critics are calling a pregnancy register. Poland, which already has a near total abortion ban, has expanded the amount of medical data being digitally saved on patients, including pregnancies. Opponents say the new data could be used by police and prosecutors against women whose pregnancies end, even in cases of miscarriage, or that women could be tracked by the state if they order abortion pills or travel abroad for an abortion. Quote, a woman comes to me, this is from a Polish gynecologist. Her name is Angela Kozurik. A patient comes to me. I see that she is pregnant. I am obligated to put this information into the system, and I am obligated to ask her again in a month when she comes back, are you still pregnant? The registry forces people to check what happens during pregnancy. Nobody knows who will have access to this very intimate and confidential data. This is still a quote from the doctor. Women will be at risk of being spied on, controlled, and possibly punished for ending their pregnancy. It puts us, doctors, at risk of being spies. I'm not going to spy on my patients. I'm not going to report them. A spokesman, this is what we're getting to, right? We've mentioned for ladies who use the menstruation cycle app, that data might be at risk for this very reason, right?
A couple of those apps have already come out and said that they are now, take it with a grain of salt. They're a business and a corporation, and you never can totally trust them, but they are coming out and saying that they intend on protecting women's data and not turning that data over to anyone that could use it against them.
Until the federal government comes in and says that's ours, what you're doing is illegal. We have to, we're not, so we're thinking, oh yeah, that won't happen in the US. Like, yeah,
that's scary, man. That's where we're headed. What is to, at this point, Brooks, what is for us to fall back on to say that we're not headed there?
Man,
we can't undo some of these things. It's going to take tremendous effort and decades worth of effort. Because guys, remember, what just happened this week was decades in the making.
40 years.
Decades by big, dark money. Decades of maneuvering and picking judges and putting money behind certain judges and making sure certain things were put in front of certain judges and certain judges were nominated for this, and certain judges were blocked here, and certain judges were passed through quickly here. And all of this maneuvering was decades in the making. So to say that like, oh, well, if we just vote Democrat this next time around, we can overturn all this stuff. No, Coney Barrett's going nowhere. She's in her 40s, 50s, 40s. Kavanaugh is for all intents for a justice is a young man. He's going nowhere. Gorsuch is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Ketanji Brown starts tomorrow. Think about what she's walking into. Right. Stephen Breyer officially retires as a Supreme Court justice tomorrow. And the Honorable Ketanji Brown is starting her first day on the job, entering the Supreme Court at its most villainous condition ever. Right? Yeah. So I guess we'll keep an eye on this story because it seems it might go somewhere. I don't know. Call me. I don't know. But some other things did happen, and there's almost not that it's ever a good thing that you had a loved one of your family have a medical emergency, but in this instance, it gave us time to witness some really interesting testimony and a surprise hearing from the January 6th committee.
Surprise, bitch!
Yeah.
Trump surprise, motherfucker. We got one more for you.
Oh, I think there's going to be a lot more of this actually. But you didn't have to be too far away from a television or a social media anywhere to know that Donald Trump had one of his aides, actually part of Mark Meadows, chief of staff to the president then. Cassidy Hutchinson, little known former White House aide, and this is from the good folks at the AP, described an angry, defiant president who was trying that day to let armed protesters avoid security screens at a rally that morning to protest his 2020 election defeat, who later grabbed at a steering wheel of the presidential SUV when the Secret Service refused to let him go to the Capitol. And when the events at the Capitol spiraled towards violence, with the crowd chanting, "Hang Mike Pence," she testified Tuesday that Trump declined to intervene. Quote, "Trump doesn't think they're doing anything wrong," she said. And that was directly from the mouth of the White House chief of staff, the person who is at the president's side, no matter what, 24/7, Mark Meadows.
That's her. Mark Meadows. That this Hutchinson is her. It works directly with Meadows, who works directly with Trump.
Directly. So she was a very connected person. Absolutely. It only took her a year and a half to come out and say all these things publicly, which would have been really interesting because she could have said most of these things after or during actually Trump's second impeachment hearing. But so when we call this person a hero and you see all these people going, "Oh, what a hero, what a hero," for sure, it takes a lot of guts and probably sacrifices some political career or aspirations she may have, for sure, absolutely. But she sat on a lot of this for a long time too. So we'll just say there's some personal motivation here.
And in the interest of fairness, and I don't know, maybe I may be jumping on and stepping on your toes here, but in the interest of fairness, because this is a story that is still developing, because today there were reports that the Secret Service agents that were involved in the incidents that Hutchinson claims happened refute and are willing to testify as well to refute those claims. But I'm also seeing more pushback and other things coming out that one of those Secret Service agents was actually brought on as an advisor to the Trump campaign while a member of the Secret Service. And so he's for all intents and purposes a Trump guy. And so of course he'd be willing to perjure himself to protect his guy. So maybe not. Now, if these Secret Service agents have some sort of evidence that suggests that this Hutchinson is lying and she lied to the committee and she lied in this testimony, that doesn't look good for the committee for sure.
Yeah.
It would be a giant piece of egg on the face of this committee and would put a stain on this whole thing, even
Perhaps a
though
ketchup stain, Ben.
yes, perhaps, but it would put a stain on this whole thing if she is found to have been lying about this. But I think we're going to find out that what she said was actually.
I read a good quote somebody posted from the late Tim Russert. He used to host, Meet the Press on Sunday mornings. Oh, fantastic. Man, that guy asked just a fantastic interviewer. And he said, this was somebody posted this quote in reference to Ron Johnson. He of the, I never had anything to do with fake electors. Oh, I knew that document was there. Oh yeah, I knew that I was supposed to give it to Mike Pence. Blah blah blah. That Ron Johnson, Wisconsin. That in a discrepancy in a story between a senator and an intern, Tim Russert was more likely to believe the intern's story because of the senator's ambition. So interns have a lot to lose. Established politicians land cushy jobs on networks, write books, and move on in life and big business and stuff. But little known interns, they have their career pretty much to sacrifice and put on the line. And at this point, I dare say, Miss Cassidy Hutchinson's safety may very well be at risk too, depending on what you think or believe of some of the people involved in these stories. But absolutely, there's a lot to be said about this. There's a lot. Look, you can say that you're willing to come and testify under oath. There's a difference between coming and doing it. Right? Trump's been on Truth Social, not that anybody's seen it, but he's been all over like saying, I demand equal time, as of this is some kind of like just TV show.
Right, like it's a debate, like it's part of a campaign.
Right.
Like, listen, man, you can let's be honest, you can have all the time you want.
Come on, motherfucker.
Testify, motherfucker.
Testify.
Hillary did it 11 goddamn hours.
Live.
She sat there. Could you imagine what the television ratings would be like for an 11-hour interrogation of President Trump the way they did Hillary for Benghazi? Oh, could you imagine? That guy couldn't sit there that long and keep his composure. There's absolutely zero motherfucking chance. He would lose it after hour 2 of having to testify. He would get up and leave. That's what would happen.
He'd also perjure himself in his first paragraph.
Right, because he would do it. Because that's the thing. The way he does his shit, how stupid he is. At the beginning, he'd say something, and then 4 hours into it, he'd contradict himself, and they'd go, "But Mr. Trump, just 4 hours ago, you said this," and he'd go, "Yeah, but I mean,
fake news. It's fake news.
Yeah, that didn't really happen. I didn't say that. No, Mr. Trump, here. Well, let's actually read back the transcript here. You said this. Bing, 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 bing.
Mr. Trump, this was 3 hours ago. Press play.
Exactly. There's no way, and he knows that. He knows that.
His handlers know that. That's why he's never been on the stand. Think about this. All of the legal shit that this guy's been involved with. Has there ever been a situation where maybe in some private, like untelevised, but have you ever seen him take the stand on anything?
Deposed? He's never even been in a deposition.
There's a reason. Because his legal team knows that he's gonna fuck himself again in the first 5 minutes of speaking. It'll be perjury times 6.
Right. The man is a hyperbole machine. He can't help himself.
But as we've been in the group chat with our good friend Lockport Joe, we've been talking about it. It's getting to a point now that like it's over for Trump, right? It's kind of over. So you kind of want to now start taking a look at everybody around him. And this was already mentioned in the world's most dangerous chat room that there was man, this is Representative Mary Miller from my home state of Illinois, Republican, on the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe versus Wade. This is the people that Trump hangs out with.
President Trump, on behalf of all the MAGA patriots in America, I want to thank you for the historic victory for life in the Supreme Court yesterday.
I'm sorry,
President Trump, on behalf victory for life in the Supreme Court yesterday. Victory for life in the Supreme Court yesterday.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Wow,
What did she say? White life? Ben? Did she really say that?
Life in the Supreme Court.
Holy fuck!
Life in the Supreme Court. Yeah, life in the Supreme Court for life in the Supreme Court.
Now, okay, I am willing to give her the best. She clearly tripped over her words.
What you call tripping over your words, I call a Freudian slip.
Maybe I'm will.
Let's also say. Wait, I believe. Hold on, I want to make sure. Mary Miller is a downstate Illinois, although I wouldn't put it past her that she's like the Naperville area because that just seems like right. Oh yeah, Oak Park. Yeah. Wait, hold on. She's where is Illinois' 15th district? Hold on, I'm looking at it right now. Oh,
I know.
Even better. Oh yeah. Oh, Illinois congressional 15th district. Oh man, that's downstate. Yeah. That's downstate.
Oh, downstate. Then she's probably done.
Oh yeah, butts right up against the wonderful state of Missouri, right up to St. Louis, down touches a little bit of Tennessee there. Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world.
But back to the topic that you're talking about that brought this up is Trump is. I don't see how he runs. I think there's too much. The avalanche still hasn't hit him yet, right? Like the snow at the top of the mountain is still just rumbling, and it's just starting to shift down and start rolling down the mountain because he's going to have criminal charges. From what I was watching a news thing this morning, and they were talking about how the committee is running an investigation that is basically parallel to the Department of Justice, right? They're two different investigations on the same thing. And as this guy put it, at some point, those investigations are going to intersect. And that's why when you hear the way that this committee is talking, they're using language that is designed to be Department of Justice legal language. They're mirroring it, saying we're putting this out there, but the Department of Justice has this same information. They have all the same stuff and more. So remember, the committee is not there to arrest him or charge him with any crimes. They're just there to expose this to the American people.
They can make criminal recommendations.
Correct.
But yes, this is television, right? This is television.
The American public and putting it on public record for time immemorial. What do they say? Immemorial.
Right. Yep. And to that, like people will say, well, it's not going to change minds. Maybe. I mean, if you get bludgeoned in the head of enough evidence, don't you eventually think like, oh shit?
You have to go, all right, maybe I was wrong.
Maybe. And it's okay to admit you're wrong. It's okay. No, please actually admit you were wrong. It's cool. I was the type of person at one point that would have been like, you stupid motherfucker. You didn't listen. At this point now, like, welcome back. Come on back to sanity. Come on back. We can have our discussions on big and small government, but look at this I'm going to steal a phrase from Sarah Kendzior. You should check out her work. She's a brilliant author. She hosts a podcast called Gaslight Nation. Sarah Kendzior. Trump represents a transnational criminal syndicate masquerading as government. Who he's connected to, all of the connections that we've been talking about since whenever. that have been the alleged ones too, because where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
All of the bad guys on the world stage right now are seemingly kind of like outing themselves in their brotherhood. And
Dude, yeah, but
oh no, to counter that, this is huge, and we have to talk about this because I know people don't necessarily understand how big this is on the world political stage. But Sweden and Finland have been formally invited to join NATO. Now, take a second, do what you have to do to look at a map if you don't already know where Sweden and Finland are, because this is a ginormous move for not only security of Europe, but to basically let Russia know, like, yeah, what you're doing right now, it's done. Because NATO basically said you should withdraw from Ukraine immediately. They not only did that, for the first time ever since World War II, the United States is going to have a permanent military base. And the aforementioned Poland, of all places. We have not had that since World War II. NATO is going to expand and reinforce all of its forward bases. There is a historic amount of money. Let's go. So So NATO has, I believe, all right, it's a 40,000 strong, what they call rapid response force. Today, they pledged to increase that force to 300,000 troops. 40,000 to 300,000. We're going to strengthen forward defenses, enhance presence on the eastern flank, boost ability to reinforce any ally, and strengthen command and control. Is it a lot of money? Sure is. But if you look at what's going on currently in Ukraine and you understand the mindset of Vladimir Putin, he's not going to stop where he is right now. He does not understand diplomacy. And in fact, diplomacy to him is just a stalling tactic. And it's a farce in the first place, because he's basically saying right now that he'll stop all of this in Ukraine if Ukraine basically surrenders the controlled territory. What kind of fucking shit is that? That's not diplomacy. That's a gun to your head saying, like, you can give me your wallet or I can shoot you.
Right, yeah, just let me win.
Right. In fact, that Volodymyr Zelensky, president of Ukraine, was asking all of these questions in a teleconference with NATO. And he literally asked, the question is, who is it next? Moldova, the Baltic countries, or Poland? And then he answered himself and said, it's all of them. So Putin wouldn't be doing what he's doing if he didn't have something up his sleeve. Just to be frank and honest with you, I don't think we can talk about his mental state and whatnot. But if there truly wasn't a plan or a backup or something, I honestly think that somebody in his government or military would have already disposed of him. That's just Russia. That's what they do. There's a long history of they're just going after the leaders when things don't go right. I honestly think that, despite all his precautions, if they want to get you, they're going to get you. Just really interesting what's going on right now. And are we on the precipice of World War III, or are we in World War III and we just don't know it? We could be.
Oh, good.
Right? Maybe that's why we need more babies, Ben.
Hold on.
Oh, wait, yeah, because and not only that, this is, and you didn't even know, Ben. This is perfect because, folks, we're gonna do a real graceful sidestep from one world disaster to what could be another one. We've talked a lot about viruses over the last couple of years, haven't we? We've kind of gotten to know them intimately and know how they have one mission. That's to survive, right? Check this out. From our good friends at The Guardian, viruses survive in fresh water by hitchhiking on plastic. The reason that's important, there's a lot of plastic in the ocean.
A lot. If you're not fucking familiar, there's a fucking shitload of it. God damn it. Son of a bitch.
From The Guardian. Dangerous viruses can remain infectious for up to 3 days in fresh water by hitchhiking on plastic. Researchers have found enteric viruses that cause diarrhea and stomach upsets, such as rotavirus, were found to survive in the water by attaching to microplastics, tiny particles less than 5 millimeters long. Not even that's, there's much smaller than that, even, folks. They remain infectious, according to the University of Stirling, and they found it to be a potential health risk. Quote,
remember how many microplastics we found out we were fucking swallowing as fucking human beings about a month and a half, 2 months ago?
I do 5 grams, the size of a plastic credit card.
Think about that. If you weren't with us then, put that in your brain.
Every week.
Every week.
Yum.
Yeah.
Professor Richard Quilliam, lead researcher on the project, said, "We found that viruses can attach to microplastics, and that allows them to survive in water for 3 days, possibly longer.
Oh, no.
We aren't sure how well viruses could survive by hitchhiking on plastic in the environment, but they do survive and they do remain infectious," he said. Cool.
Awesome.
That is awesome. There's not a lot of plastic anywhere. It's a good thing that we made these environmental switches and changes once we realized the danger plastics presented. And oil, from which plastics came from, petroleum. Cool. Awesome. Can the story get any worse?
God.
I don't have a story from about a rock from space today. I have a story about little microscopic things that have proven to be a pain in the ass, deadly. That can kind of survive on something that's everywhere and everywhere in our society. They're just talking about fresh water. They're talking about open air, warm environments, garbage just piles somewhere. Ah, shit. There's your Brooks E-L-E, the Ellie. We'll call her Brooks Ellie Brooks. So,
well, the Guardian at least has a little bit better news to share with us.
And we'd like to share these news because big again, I'll always mention this, big fan of Graham Hancock, and one of Graham Hancock's favorite quotes is things just keep getting older, including our ancestors. Because early human ancestors are 1 million years older than we thought.
Is that a lot? Is it a million years a lot of years?
Yeah, it depends on what you're comparing it to.
Like all the years, it's not a lot.
All the years, Gigi and I were talking earlier today. The country's only been around the good old US of A. We figured it all out. We've only been around for 246 years.
Right, 246. We just found out that there's a group of humans, for all intents and purposes, that are 1 million years older than we thought. 1 million.
246 years. So let's just also remember that dinosaurs roamed the earth for over 1 billion years. I would call that a pretty good run.
Yeah, right. We talk about them like they were fucking assholes, and that were just dummies that were running around and unable to fucking handle themselves, and they just went extinct because they were stupid. No, they were around for 1 billion motherfucking years. Yeah. We've been around for, if we're lucky, maybe a couple million.
Maybe a couple million, but it keeps getting pushed back. It was like 2.2 million and then 3.67 million. And now they're coming in at about 3.7-ish to about 4 million years old, when our earliest of early ancestors were roaming around there in Africa. Now remember, we've talked about it wasn't just one species. There were multiple species of humanoids roaming around. It wasn't just the Neanderthals. There were several subdivisions, and they occupy different parts of Africa too. So these fossils aren't new. They've just been reanalyzed using the newest and latest technology. And that's when scientists went, oh, wait, run those numbers again. Oh, same number? Well, Charles, our discrepancy is just a 1 million year difference. Right? It's a big deal, but it's not a big deal, but it's a big deal, because if we don't know where we came from, we really don't know where we're going. And the more we understand about these ancient ancestors of ours, what their lives were like, what their environments were like, what diseases they may have had, what their immune systems were like. We would know more about ourselves. And the more we know about ourselves, maybe we can prevent some of the deadly viruses that are going to come in our Sprite bottles. I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking out loud. Usually I am. But I wanted to bring this to your attention. I wanted to take a little vote maybe from the two. Maybe there's too many candidates on the ballot in the next segment here to do an actual vote for. Not like we're going to do in a very fishy lightning round, which is coming up soon. Ooh. But I wanted to, in all the hubbub of the public realizing that Donald Trump is a ginormous child, prone to temper tantrums, including throwing hamburgers and ketchup at walls in the White House and the Oval Office. It was well known that the White House staff could play the soundtrack from the musical Cats to calm down the then president. Donald Trump's staff would play the song Memory from the Broadway musical Cats to soothe the former president when he was stressed. It has been revealed. Stephanie Grisham, who served as his White House press secretary and communications director, and as Melania Trump's chief of staff, said on Tuesday that the former president's temper was scary. She continued, he'd snap and almost lose control. Grisham recently published a tell-all book. Hey, thanks for the late notice. Recently published a tell-all book and noted that when Trump descended into turmoil, his staff resorted to summoning an aide nicknamed the Music Man to play songs from the musicals that they knew would soothe him, namely Memory from the Broadway musical Cats. Cats. Ladies and gentlemen, I did a little research. Cats came out in 1981. Famous musical, right? Everybody knows the song Memory. It's a beautiful song.
I've never heard it before right now.
Oh, really? Okay. We in junior high band, the last concert of the school year, we always played Memory as a tribute to the outgoing graduating 8th grade class. And so I, at one time, had played the song for myself. It's quite a thing that a then 35-year-old Donald Trump would have seen Cats in the theater. Actually, it's quite believable, as it was probably a hip scene to go to Broadway at that point. And knowing his proclivities, he probably, I love that Cats. I love that Cats. Just to know that the man who had his finger on the trigger of the world's most dangerous, not chat room, but nuclear arsenal, could be soothed like a child in diapers by listening to Cats. I'm glad they said what his favorite song was, because I was like, there's a lot of tracks on that album. Oh, tears. The late, great Michael Cork would be conducting the band, and he'd be shedding a tear at all the great young musicians that he was forming, moving on in their lives to never pick up the clarinet again.
There you go. We're probably going to get hit with a fucking...
So yeah, enjoy it before the band hammer. Before the band hammer comes out, let me show you this, and we're gonna get to the lightning round. I promise, because I know Dan's not listening. Folks, check this video out. Ben, if you could just, if you wanted a moment of zen.
Oh man, you show me a video of some otters doing anything, and you got me.
Let me introduce you to an otter mom and pup.
Hold on, I'm gonna get us off to the side so we're not blocking that.
Watch together and shed a tear like manly men. Do you like Turkish baths?
Aw. All this nonsense that we talked about today. This whole thing with the video at the end of all the fucking chaos. That's a good idea.
I gotta cleanse the palate.
It is. It's a palate cleanser. It really is.
It could be a basketball video of some young girl schooling some dudes.
A pet otter, honestly.
Seriously, look how cute that is.
Honestly,
He's
like
hugging
seriously, like if you could, I think if we polled the audience, we can poll the audience right now. If you could have an otter as a pet, you would, right? Like, who wouldn't want an otter? I would get a tank. I would just get a giant tank and let them fucking swim around in that tank all day.
I would, I wouldn't want to take them out of their natural environment because I think that's
mean,
I would buy property where I knew otters were, and I'd be
There
like pro otter.
yes,
Protter.
there you
I'd be protter.
Another T-shirt that's going to
Protter.
be coming to our start Topic Thunder store.
Not existent. Topic Thunder store. I'm all for it. Protter.
I'm a protter. It's just, yeah.
There's no better way, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce you to the number one segment on the number one podcast that my dad still doesn't listen to. It's the lightning round. Ladies and gentlemen, get those thunderbolts out into the world's most dangerous chat room. We call it the Thunderdome. And if you're just joining us on Twitch or Facebook or YouTube or wherever else this might be, let me break down the segment for you if you're not familiar. We read 3 stories. You, the world's most dangerous chat room, vote on those 3 stories, and then we read the winner. It's very democratic here, ladies and gentlemen. So without any dilly-dally, let's get to headline number 1. Thousands of penis fish washed up on a California beach, and people loved it.
All right. Starting off with a bang.
Headline number 2, I told you it was fishy. Anchovies are reportedly raining from the sky across San Francisco. And headline number 3, Uber's lost and found report includes tater tots, teeth, and slime.
Gross.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as you're kind of figuring out what you like and what you want to hear, our democracy, I'm going to read the headlines one more time. Headline number 1, thousands of penis fish washed up on a California beach, and people loved it. Headline number 2.
Whether or not that gets picked or not, I have to know what a penis.
It's a thing. We might do well. Let's see what the people say. Right, we gotta let the people vote. The headline number 2: anchovies are reportedly raining from the sky across San Francisco. And headline number 3: Uber's lost and found report includes tater tots, teeth, and slime. Ladies and gentlemen, get your votes in right now. Of course, Gigi's all caps in for the penis fish. I mean,
Biz is voting for number 1.
Biz, were you on earlier? Because I was on a corner of like it was like Wacker and Fairbanks on Saturday. I was repping a Shiesty sweatshirt, and some asshole yelled out their fucking car, "Yo, Shiesty!" And I was like, "What a fucking asshole!" I don't know if that was you.
Wait, and Ryan Hansen's
going number 1. Oh yeah, Biz.
He also has his his headlines in: dicks on a beach, fish rain, and lost for a reason. Everyone is interested in the penis fish.
I like fish rain, actually. That
dick on a beach is also
sounds disturbing to me. Oh yeah, Biz.
20 minutes. Okay, so we need to know: was that you? Did you know it was Brooks that you yelled at, or not? So Biz, if you're listening, I know there's a little bit of a delay as I asked this, but we are very curious if you knew if it was Brooks or not. Courtney with her
remix. Okay, we got dueling remixes.
Yeah, right. Dick Tide, Stink Rain, and check the Uber box. Number one is a landslide. People, penis fish, man. When you say penis fish, people are you have them at penis fish.
I think we have a winner. We're gonna wait for last couple of maybe possible votes, but I think
and don't worry, I have a picture of a penis fish ready to go.
Sent you the story too, just for good old time's sake. This was help me out here, folks. This was written by senior staff writer James Felton on IFLscience.com. big fan of that website. Ladies and gentlemen, thousands of penis fish have washed up on the shores of Drake's Beach, California. Better known by its more phallic name for fairly obvious reasons, it is a species of marine spoonworm that spends most of its life buried in soft sediment of a seabed, also known as the fat innkeeper worm. Now, what the fuck does that mean? The fat innkeeper worm? All right, whatever. These worms can live under the sand for up to 25 years, minding their own business, feeding on plankton, bacteria, and other small particles that fall into their mucus traps. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Little penis fish has a mucus trap. However, these 10 inchers. However, these 10 inchers appear to have been disturbed, picked up from their quiet life, and strewn across the beach as far as the eye can see, never to be unseen, thanks to the horrendous photograph snapped by a local resident. Ben, if you could pull that story up that I sent you, because there's a pretty critical photo where, Dick's on a beach, Dick Tide. You're not too far off there. The story goes on. I had no idea what they might be, but it went on for 2 miles.
Yeah, I had a picture of what it looked like.
Oh no, you need to see the beach.
Yeah, look at this.
Look at that.
Fuck, ridiculous.
Those are penis fish. You can't even say fishes. That's penis fish.
Hold on, I got a better source. I got a better picture. Check this.
A better picture of the penis fish. All right.
Wow,
that is just crazy. And the worms create U-shaped burrows in the center mud, and I don't think they have a reason for why they got dumped on the beach. We're seeing the risk of building your home out of sand. They don't give a reason as to why all these penis fish basically beach themselves. But
so the mystery still remains as to why there are thousands of penis.
It's a penile mystery, ladies and gentlemen. We'll fish around for an answer perhaps in a later episode, but that's what we got for you here, ladies and gentlemen. That wraps up, I think, Topic Thunder 78 or something like that, which is a terrible year to have a younger brother born, just for the record. No offense to anybody born in 1970 outside of my immediate blood. But hey, folks, you need to come here to talk about my family, unless you're Dan Brooks, but he's not listening, so that doesn't matter either. But I want to thank you for listening and participating in the world's most dangerous chat room. We call it the Thunderdome. You are part of Topic Thunder. You're not listening to Topic Thunder. You are part of Topic Thunder. And Ben, as always, thank you so much for riding along with me on this crazy thing we do here.
I cannot wait for next week. Dr. Chrissy, the in-house psychologist of Topic Thunder. We are going to focus on mental health next week. So I got some questions. Brooks has got some questions. Bring your own questions. We are going to pepper her with some different topics that we are interested in, get the perspective of someone much smarter than us on the subject.
She's a practicing therapist. So folks, join us next week, Wednesday, for a special in-house guest.